While the president has tough admonitions for this caravan, they are still going strong. There's news of even a second caravan coming across the Guatemalan border.
We have a very strong border. I called up the military. This caravan is not, they're wasting their time.
The president and First Lady are planning to meet with first responders as well as those who were injured in Saturday's synagogue shooting.
The president has far more supporters who espouse hateful ideology.
The president cherishes the American Jewish community. His daughter is a Jewish American, and his son-in-law is a descendant of Holocaust survivors.
But just 1 week until the midterm elections, well, President Trump is going all in for Republicans, tweeting endorsements, holding 11 rallies.
Democrats are worried suddenly.
They should be worried.
I've had it with this intimidation, in your face, radical left. And the best way to shut them down is to beat them at the ballot box.
Making pumpkins great again. Kanye West's face on that 315-pound gourd. Very impressive stuff.
We'll have your TV off, break that boombox out. We'll wake up all the neighbors till.
If you're going to be writing us, this is our new address. Fox Square, that's the corner. So we have a new street address.
And what's the zip code?
I'm not really sure. It's 10036. I still think we keep the same zip.
We are outside. We're on 6th Avenue. The American flag flying right behind us. Radio City. It's a beautiful day out here. A little crisp, but not too cold. And you can see the Christmas lights up in the background. Fall is here, winter is here, and Christmas is around the corner, and elections are 7 days away.
That's right. So today we're going to have breakfast with Bob Evans Farms. I know a lot of you pick up their products in the grocery store. They're going to be making you breakfast. If you're interested, stop by 48th and 6th Avenue here at Fox Square, and we will fix you breakfast, pour you some hot coffee, and we're going to talk politics 1 week away from the midterm elections.
Right. And by the way, if you're at home, please, in honor of us, go outside and watch us outside because we're coming to you outside. I don't even care if you're dressed.
You know what? You can stream us.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely true.
Some people have heaters on their back porch. Some people watch from the garage. You know, some guys have the man room inside the garage. So Brian is asking you to go outside
and watch
us this morning. Don't go to work.
Just stay right where you are because we're going to give you the news. First up, let's talk about Operation Faithful Patriot. The Department of Homeland Security has requested the Pentagon to help them harden our southern border. We know we've already had 2,000 National Guardsmen, but now active duty personnel from Fort Riley, Fort Campbell, Fort Knox, and Fort Hood are heading toward the U.S.-Mexican border.
800 headed there yesterday. By Saturday, 1,700. And by mid-December, there will be 5,200 soldiers there.
And what they're going to be doing is not arresting, but aiding our border guards, everything that they need. We're going to be supporting them. But most importantly, they're going to be setting up not structures, but they're going to be setting up tent cities. Just to give you the numbers, if you're listening on radio, 5,200 overall. They're going to be using 3 medium-lift helicopter companies, USAF, C-130 cargo planes, 22 miles of barbed wire. That's interesting because instead of the president waiting for the wall and for funding, he's going to have a lot of barrier built by the men and women on our border to repel some who might want to come here. And I hope this. We have 1,000 people coming anyway a week.
1,900 a day.
Yeah.
1,900.
So they're already, caravan aside, there's already a problem. They're already being overwhelmed. Hopefully this will highlight and get us to address the Central American and South American issue.
Well, Laura Ingraham sat down with the president yesterday, and she said in that interview last night, she said, what do you do if all these people come over and we have catch and release and they want to apply for asylum? He said, we're not going to let them in. We're going to hold them in really nice tent cities. And she said about 70-80% are rejected when they apply for asylum and they have to go back home.
That's right. We have heard it from our Secretary of Homeland Security, Kirstjen Nielsen, and we've heard it from the president to the migrants. Don't bother. You're not going to make it across. Listen to this.
When you look at that caravan and you look largely, very, big percentage of men, young, strong, a lot of bad people in there. People that are in gangs, We don't want them in this country. If they want to come into the country, you have to apply like other people. We have millions of people coming in. They're applying. They're coming in legally. We have a very strong border. I called up the military. This caravan is not, they're wasting their time. We're going to build tent cities. We're going to put tents up all over the place. We're not going to build structures and spend all of this, hundreds of millions of dollars. We're not letting them into this country.
Okay, so the message is clear. Also on Axios, they've got an item today. Apparently on Axios on HBO, the president has announced that he plans to sign an executive order that would remove the right to citizenship for babies of non-citizens who are born here on American soil. Essentially, that's what they refer to sometimes as anchor babies. So the president, through executive order, is going to try to end that. Expect some sort of a legal fight as well. The president told Axios that apparently he thought there had to be a constitutional amendment. Not the case. He says he can do it.
A guy like Bill Richardson, who was governor of New Mexico, who was ambassador to the United Nations, special envoy to North Korea, he's an example of a person who would not be an American citizen. His family came here by train. He was born here. And essentially his family was from another country, but he was an American citizen. Things like that would no longer, that's going to be controversial to say the least. But that is one of the methods that people come here illegally. They come, have kids, the kids stay, and the kids become American citizens, but the parents are in hyperspace.
Well, we've been watching the caravans grow as they're moving toward the United States. We keep hearing more and more caravans are starting down in El Salvador and moving into Guatemala. Well, Griff Jenkins is embedded with the migrant caravan in the southern part of Mexico.
And Griff joins us right now. Hey, Griff.
Hey guys, good morning. Yeah, that's right. Listen, this caravan is not showing any signs of slowing down anytime soon. In fact, it appears they're actually inspiring others. A caravan battling with police, federal police down in the Guatemala-Mexico border yesterday and the day before. But let me give you a look at what's happening here. We're in Niltepec, a small town in the state of Oaxaca, as they make their way northward, and the town's opening its doors in its city hall to let people in. And what you're seeing now is a line, a queue of mostly women and children they're trying to put in front, because the local state of Oaxaca and the local human rights organization is allowing 11 buses to come in this morning and move them to their next location, which is about 30 miles away, the town of Juchitán. A little bit of some of the discussion going on back and forth is the men aren't necessarily always happy about the women and children first. That's caused problems in the past, but they're trying to orderly do it, and we'll see when the buses get here. We'll show you. But we spoke with one of the migrants who spoke English, Elvis, yesterday, and I asked him about the president's efforts to stop him. Here's what he had to say. You deported?
I got deported because I got an accident for DUI,
You got arrested?
Yes.
Do you hear President Trump announced he's going to put 5,000 troops on the border to stop the caravan? What do you think? Will it stop you?
I'm thinking that's no problem for me, but nobody over here, because I want to go there.
So 5,000 troops won't stop you, you'll still go?
Yes, I want to go over there. Nobody can stop me, and nobody can stop these people.
And lastly, if you can't get asylum, will you consider crossing illegally?
Yes, yes.
And yeah, you see the human rights group here is the one helping the buses. And yesterday we actually saw some of the municipal police at the town just south to us from the last stop helping the migrants on their way. Now they want to go to Mexico City. They want to make a big statement there. That's what Pueblos Sin Fronteras, the organizing group, says that they're going to do. That'll put them sort of in the middle of Mexico, and they'll either head for Tijuana or Texas. Texas is about 1,000 miles away. Tijuana, double that distance, guys.
Great job letting us know the people behind the caravan. Great job. Appreciate it, Griff.
Thank you, Griff.
All right. Meanwhile, today, the President of the United States, with the First Lady, will go down to Pittsburgh. He says he's going to visit the site of the synagogue. He's going to go to the hospital to visit the first responders and everybody else that was in the line of fire on Saturday. He said, I would have been down sooner, but I just don't want to get in the way early with what was taking place.
Well, in fact, the mayor of Pittsburgh asked him not to come because of security concerns. However, Rabbi Jeffrey Myers, who survived the attack, said he would be honored to meet President Trump. He says, I welcome him as an American. He is the president. And so that is the backdrop. Of course, today they start the first funerals of 11 coming up in the next couple of days. And the rhetoric continues about the president's rhetoric. There are a number of people on the political left who said that the president's rhetoric was responsible for this attack.
Well, it's not a time to get political, and you see it on both sides. But the president is going there, and he's saying, I'm going to meet with the people who want to meet with me. I didn't go earlier because I didn't want to disrupt things. Some people are saying don't come. Some are saying to come. He's criticized no matter what he does. On some other networks, though, the media has just ramped up the rhetoric, and they're connecting, some of them are connecting the president to violence around the country. And there's one correspondent in particular that compared him to ISIS, saying that the president saying that he has radicalized more people than ISIS has. Listen to this.
I think, this president, one of the things that he really launched his presidential run on is talking about Islamic radicalization. And this president has radicalized so many more people than ISIS ever did.
What do you base it upon,
ISIS had like 10,000 members. I think the president has far more supporters who espouse an equally hateful ideology.
Well, she went on to say, realizing the backlash she got and the ridiculous statement she made, she clarified on Twitter. She says, I clarified and apologize on air, but I'll say it again here. There's been a very emotional and painful time, but I absolutely should not have gone with such hyperbole on the air. I apologize.
Okay, so she said she's sorry.
Meanwhile, Bend the Arc, which is a progressive Jewish organization, said the president should not be welcome unless he denounced white nationalism and stopped targeting minorities in his rhetoric and his policies, according to them.
Right.
Meanwhile, here's what the president said yesterday with Laura Ingraham about why he sometimes refers to the media as the enemy of the people.
When I say the enemy of the people, I'm talking about the fake news, and you know it better than anybody. You have news out there that is so fake, and I can do the greatest thing ever, North Korea, as an example. When they talk about North Korea, they say, what's taking so long?
But you know they're going to be biased.
Yeah, but
you know they're
this has been going on for 70 some odd years. It's my form of telling the truth. Here's the problem. We have a lot of supporters. Those supporters know that they're lying.
So there he is talking about his term, enemy of the people, which bothers a lot of people.
I really wish he would lose that term. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't push back on the media that he wants to push back on. And I think that it gets too many other people lying, gets shrapnel with that statement. Because the press isn't the enemy of the people. Some of the things they say and the way they stack their shows, the president could look as though they're targeting him and he's got a case. But that broad statement does a lot of damage.
Well, I think he probably feels like they are not doing him any favors, and so he doesn't like them, ultimately. But are they the enemy of the people? I don't think so either. Yeah. All right, meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about down in Florida, Volusia County, the Republican Party headquarters. Somebody between Sunday and Monday either drove by or stood in front of the building and shot up the window.
Four shots through the Trump signs and through the windows there. Thankfully, no one was injured, and the suspect has been identified.
Lieutenant Colonel Michael Walsh, who worked for Vice President Dick Cheney, he's got about a 2-point lead in his race, but it's a tight one. Mike Bloomberg is pouring money into it. He talked about it.
I was just speaking there last week, and the podium and the wall where I was speaking is now riddled with bullets, Sean. So this is personal. And then I got to tell you, as a combat veteran, this is what we deal with over in the third world, over in places all over the world. In America, we resolve our political differences with debate, with votes, not with guns and bombs.
And he would know. He's a Green Beret.
Yeah, so far, no suspects have been identified. All right, continuing on from, as you can see above Ainsley's head, Fox Square.
That's
Come on out.
Send our mail. Meanwhile, remember this campaign ad from Senator Claire McCaskill?
And Claire's not afraid to stand up against her own party.
Yep, and Claire's not one of those crazy Democrats.
Really? So who exactly are those crazy Democrats? Stick around.
Yeah, she's about to name them. And President Trump praising Brazil's new president, known as the Trump of the tropics. And Charles Payne says this is a win for your wallet. He, as you can see, is live on Fox Square wearing a hat.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You look great. Hey, honey.
What's up,
Great to see you. How are you?
Good. How you doing? Love that coat.
Breakfast with friends outside here in Fox Square. Meanwhile, Brazilian political outsider Jair Bolsonaro winning the country's presidential election by a considerable margin on Sunday.
He's 64 years old, former military officer, who some have dubbed the Trump of the tropics. Ran a staunchly pro-business, anti-establishment campaign.
And almost spend no money to do it. Here with what his election means for your wallet, his wallet, and the people of Brazil. The host of Making Money, filling in for Neil this week, Charles Payne. Charles, what do you...
Sharp hat, by the way.
Thank you. What is significant about his victory?
What's significant is this is another major loss for the establishment, the elite establishment, and not just the West. It's all over the world. The pushback against the elitists, the bankers, the financiers, the globalists, those folks who've been in charge for a century, and people are saying our lives don't get better. Your lives always get better. Our lives don't get better. You pit us against each other. Our lives don't get better. So here you have someone who ran on anti-corruption, anti-crime, pro-growth, pro-America.
Right.
Okay, in the same day, Angela Merkel has another defeat that leads to her saying, okay, I'm headed for the exits. We are seeing something going on, a revolution. This is a revolution around the world. It's a major pushback to the establishment. The great news, particularly with South America, it wasn't long ago when Chavez was pushing leftist ideology and he had that oil money, and country after country was saying, okay, we may try this socialism thing.
It kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it?
It does.
So what's it going to do for our wallet?
Well, it's going to be great because it's going to enhance trade. Brazil is one of the up-and-coming countries. Remember a few years ago in Wall Street, the big acronym was BRIC. Brazil, Russia, India, China. Those were the nations that were going to take over economically from America and Europe. And by the way, they've had a few bumps in the road, but it still probably could be inevitable that those four countries will do more be more for the economy than the previous leaders.
I know our president called the president of Brazil or the new president to congratulate him. What is their relationship? Do you know?
From what I understand, it's pretty good. I mean, he's called the Trump right of the tropics. But again, here's a guy who said, I'm going to push back against the way things are because, you know, like, and it's so interesting because you hear about income inequality and things like that. It only festers and it only gets worse under the current regimes of all over the world.
And Charles, the thing is, unlike there's corruption, not just people, it's not just there is so much corruption. They've jailed their last two leaders. For this to last, he's got to be effective. That's going to be key. If he's not effective, this implodes.
Well, of course, and you know, he's got to be honest and live up to his promises.
Charles Payne, we're going to be watching you.
All right.
Hope you wear that hat on
Thank
your
you very much. If it's this cold inside, I will.
He said he always wanted it. Always wanted one of those
I was
hats.
promised breakfast.
Yeah, go
It's
get
coming.
it.
It's coming.
Hey, plus,
Thanks,
7 days less into the midterm elections. Who's going to win? Who's going to prevail? We'll give you the latest. Don't miss a minute. I still had 2 seconds, but I'm out of...
You back with some headlines now. The man accused of sending more than a dozen packages to prominent Democrats is being held without bail. Cesar Sayoc did not enter a plea during his first court appearance. He's facing 5 federal charges and 48 years behind bars. The feds also revealing they found a hit list with more than 100 potential targets in his van. He'll be back in court Friday. Overnight, a killer, minutes from execution, cracks a joke in his final moments. Rodney Burgett saying, quote, "Sorry for the delay. I got caught in traffic," referencing the hours-long delay before his lethal injection. Burgett killed prison guard R.J. Johnson in 2011 during a failed escape at the South Dakota State Penitentiary. Let's look at some of your headlines. Brian, send it back over to you.
All right, thanks, Jillian, wherever you are. In the final push before the midterm, Democrats are admitting that their party lacks the message it needs to win back the majority of that's so far in the House and Senate. The strategist that is saying all this is Chris Coffins. He has said that the party's messaging this election season has been missing. He says we haven't had a real message since the last presidential election. So why change it now? We have no message going into this election. Will this strategy affect voters if indeed it is the truth? Joining us around to discuss it in a very, very small table is RNC spokesperson Kayleigh McEnany and Fox News contributor Jessica Tarlov. Jessica, do you buy into that you lack a message?
No, I don't. I don't know this Chris Coffins. The message is health care, which Kayleigh is prepared for me to say that. But if you look at Democratic ads, health care is mentioned in over 50% of them. It is the #1 issue to voters. We are leading there. And you can see that the Republican Party is aware of this because they've started lying about the fact that their policy will protect pre-existing conditions. Scott Walker, Ron DeSantis, Ronna McDaniel, your boss, is talking about pre-existing conditions, which Republicans have no interest in covering.
Kayleigh, it's ironic, too, that Obamacare, which was not on anybody's lips for the 8 years it was introduced. Now, all of a sudden, people are saying those are the good old days.
Right, not the good old days when you have premiums that have doubled from 2013 to 2017. I understand Democrats want to talk about health care. So do we, because it's failed the American people. And President Trump was one of the few primary candidates on a Republican debate stage saying, I will protect pre-existing conditions. The Republican plan did. Democrats don't have a message. Rahm Emanuel, by the way, said the Democrats don't have a message. Obstruct, resist, impeach. That doesn't work, doesn't win elections.
So right now, if you look at Dr. Larry Sabato, who's got his crystal ball, but like all of us struggled with the last election making predictions, he says right now it's about 212 to 202 with the Democrats with an advantage, but you got 21 toss-ups, so nobody's got the 218 needed, and it could come down to the backstretch. Jessica, the bombing, the mail bombings, and the horrific shootings at the synagogue, the reactions and the retorts and the president, do you think that plays a role with 7 days to go?
I think certainly something happening that close to an election and such an utter national tragedy with the Tree of Life shooting, the mail bomber, and also the shooting at Kroger, which happened as well last week, absolutely matters. I think it will mobilize voters. I think probably on both sides, Republicans feeling the president is attacked and Democrats feeling like this president has given a completely inadequate response.
Kaylee?
Well, look, the knee-jerk reaction to blame President Trump is despicable. What CNN did, the president blaming the president of the United States, and then in the wake of this horrific tragedy this weekend to blame the president yet again. Nevertheless, you know, the shooter was an anti-Trump individual. He did not support the president. It was horrific tragedy, and to blame the president is absolutely shameful.
It's about a culture and an administration that people feel has fostered and supported white supremacists.
Well, that would be false. That would be false. He's denounced it more times than Hillary Clinton has. So.
I think we both agree to call the president as anti-Semitic. There's no there.
Right. That's a whole other segment we can do. Well, I understand that he has Jewish family, obviously, but there are people in his administration who have been close to him on the campaign trail who have been less than peachy on this issue. And
Democrats tried in 2016. This playbook didn't work. It's not going to work this year either.
And the caravan looming in the backdrop, the Democrats conspicuous by their absence on rhetoric or comment. I think that you realize that immigration is not where they want to go. Going to be a good debate. We got 7 more days to do it.
Looking forward to it. Good to join you.
All right. Meanwhile, the check, please, if we can get that. Meanwhile, straight ahead. Remember the campaign ad for Senator Claire McCaskill, this one.
And Claire's not afraid to stand up against her own party.
Yep, and Claire's not one of those crazy Democrats.
So who exactly are those crazy Democrats? We'll find out next. And more for Breakfast with Friends on the Fox Square. That is next.
Come on over. You know, it was during the primary of 2016 when we first started going to diners. And since we're 1 week out before the midterms, we thought we would start our own diner here in front of the building here in Fox Square. And that's why our friends from Bob Evans Farms making you breakfast. If you're interested, stop on by 48th and 6th Avenue. We'll make you breakfast on this Tuesday morning.
I saw some sausage, saw some coffee.
Right. And Steve,
some potatoes.
We should open up to your random breakfast section of your book and make you cook it on the spot.
That's right. Remember, folks, when we went down to the Villages and I went and knocked on the door of somebody, didn't realize we were going to come in, and I made them breakfast. We're actually going to do that again. Go to Dining with Doocy. You can find it at foxnews.com.
It was so popular.
After the midterms.
Okay.
It's all politics right now.
Yeah, for the next 7 days, we're going to be talking about politics. There's a new political ad that the Trump campaign has put out reminding you how far we've come as a country, how far we are, how much better off we are over the last 2 years. Watch this.
When I look at the way things are, it reminds me how far we've come.
These numbers, they are depressingly weak.
The economy is growing even more slowly than we thought.
But things are starting to change. There's more opportunity and security to invest in the ones that matter. This could all go away if we don't remember what we came from.
Wow, that's a pretty effective ad. Because that's the best message that Republicans could have forward. It's the economy and a lack of conflict overseas.
And it doesn't even mention the president. It just reminds you that the country is better off economically.
Well, the president is busy, as we heard from Kellyanne yesterday. He's going to have 11 rallies right up to the night before the midterm. I think he ends at Cape Girardeau out in the great state of Missouri. Larry Sabato of the University of Virginia Center for Politics, he says right now it looks as if the Republicans will continue to control the Senate. But right now, it is too close to call when it comes to the U.S. House. He says right now the hard count is the House Democrats have 212, the Republicans have 202, and there are just a number of toss-ups where it is still too close to call at this point. There's a great item in the New York Post today about that.
I think his crystal ball, if I rubbed it the right way, it has 20, they say 21 toss-ups, but 20 are held by Republicans in those seats. A lot of retirements. It suffices to say, if there wasn't 40 retirements, Republicans would be even more optimistic or have more hope than they might have right now.
Well, every time we have someone who's an expert come on, that's what they always say. It's these retirements that are hurting the Republican Party.
So you're trying to say I don't really have an original
No, I'm trying to
thought?
say, you really pay attention and you listen.
All right, we're going to go meet the guy who's making us breakfast in a minute, but right now, Jillian's got the news.
I want some breakfast. I'm going to have to meet you guys over there.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm going to come find you in a minute. Don't you worry. But in the meantime, a vulnerable Democrat in a state won by President Trump is trying to distance herself from her colleagues.
And Claire's not afraid to stand up against her own party.
Yep, and Claire's not one of those crazy Democrats.
Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill now hinting at who she thinks is.
I would not call my colleagues crazy, but Elizabeth Warren sure went after me when I advocated tooling back some of the regulations for small banks and credit unions. I certainly disagree with Bernie Sanders on a bunch of stuff, so I'm not afraid.
Republican Josh Hawley is challenging McCaskill for her Senate seat. A day of trick-or-treating ends with a 5-year-old boy testing positive for meth. His parents say he got sick after playing with fake teeth someone passed out in their small Ohio town.
The left side of his face was just droopy, and then he fell, and then he couldn't move his left arm. My kids will not ever go trick-or-treating ever again.
Well, thankfully, the boy is okay. Police are currently investigating. An SUV nearly slams into a cop and a highway worker. Take a look at this dramatic dash cam video. The driver crashing into a New Jersey DOT truck, sending the worker tumbling. He barely escapes being hit by another car before sprinting to safety. The cop had just stopped on the road to help look for a dead deer. No one was seriously hurt. And this little toddler proves you're never too young to rock and roll.
Oh, baby! Can't do this to me, baby! Just go get out! Just go get right out of here!
There's a new queen in town, and her name is Holly. The 3-year-old rocking out to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody in her mom's car in Scotland. That cute clip, as you can see why, is now going viral. Isn't she adorable?
Yeah, and by the way, isn't there a Queen movie coming out?
Ooh.
On the makeup, I mean, that's going to be fantastic.
But that's right, Bohemian Rhapsody. But that scene is reminiscent of that scene from Wayne's World, remember?
Yes.
Yeah, very similar.
Right. Wayne's World, Wayne's
I
World.
love the car seat. Did you see the car seat? It was Mickey Mouse with pink and white polka dots. The little girl probably picked it out.
All right, you would never know she is 3 feet from us, but Janice Dean has got the weather right now. Janice?
Hi, thank you, Steve Doocy. How's it going? Now you know what it feels like to be me outside.
Yes.
Because, hi,
Told you.
It's the magic of TV. Let's take a look at the weather outside, and then we'll have some breakfast, my friends. Not too bad here in New York City. It could be a lot worse. Could be snow, could be rain, but we're at 44 right now. Just dress appropriately. 38 in Cleveland. It's 46 in Minneapolis, 35 in Denver. And let me tell you, we've got quite a little snowstorm that's going to happen across Colorado over the next 24 to 48 hours, bringing measurable snow across the central Rockies. Taking a look at the future radar, we've actually got a busy pattern across the west that's going to bring the potential for heavy snow. That's going to move into parts of the plain states, and then the heavy rain ahead of that, several inches of rainfall as we go into Wednesday, Halloween, and Thursday. So just keep that in mind. Here is your spooky forecast for all of you folks that are going to be trick-or-treating. We're going to see the potential for heavy rain across the plain states, and then that snow across the Rockies and the northern Rockies. It'll be, relatively warm across the East Coast for all you trick-or-treaters. All right, where's breakfast? Steve Doocy, where are you?
Right over here,
Okay.
10 feet away from you. We go to a lot of diners all across the country, but this morning, our friends from Bob Evans Farms are preparing us breakfast. Joining us right now is Chef David Rose.
Good morning, Steve. How you doing?
Good. We buy these things all the time. They're at the grocery store.
They're amazing.
They're already prepared. All you got to do is warm them up. Thank you very much for making delicious dinner.
It is my pleasure. Can you smell the sausage? Can you smell the sausage, guys? Smells amazing. That aroma is awesome. So what we have right now, Bob Evans has been around for 70 years.
Yep.
So they're doing it right. They are America's #1 seller of refrigerated macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
I love the sausage.
We have some sausage going. We have sausage patties, sausage links. It's just really amazing what you can do with these products right here. We have a couple different, if you pan around, a couple different breakfast items today with Bob Evans sausage products. What we have is a cheesy hash brown cup. In there you have simply potatoes. As the base of that, you have some cheese and also some Bob Evans Italian sausage.
Now, David, how do you make the cup? Do you put it like...
How do you make the cup? Like in a muffin tin.
Yeah.
In a muffin tin.
So spray it with
all these recipes you can find on bobevansgrocery.com. That's the Facebook, the Twitter, all those. Check them out. Get all those recipes.
All right.
I know you can cook, so check them out.
All right.
Yes.
Chef, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right, so if you're interested in breakfast, come on down. He's going to make it for you.
I'll be hanging out all day from 6 to 9, guys.
He will. All right. Meanwhile, a major change could be coming to Twitter, and you might not like it. We're going to explain that. Plus, as the caravan heads for the United States, thousands of American troops are heading for the border. Pete Hegseth, an Army vet, what does he think about it? Stick around. He joins us on Fox Square.
Good morning.
It's fun. Meanwhile, will Twitter reportedly look to remove the like button in a bid to improve the quality of online debate? I don't get the theory behind
So
this.
you don't like the idea of removing the like
I will not
button.
hit like on that.
The social media giant's founder, Jack Dorsey, made the announcement last week during a company event telling employees he, quote, wasn't a fan of the feature and it would be depleted and deleted soon.
A lot of people are not happy about that. So how will Twitter users react to the latest revelation? Joining us now to discuss is comedian and Fox News contributor and the host of The Quiz Show on Fox Nation, Tom DeLue. Hi.
Tom, we should add, too, you have a great radio show on Fox News.
Great radio show following your show, Brian.
Right. Well, that's why it's great.
Yes.
Right. So we thought you'd be the perfect person to ask about like. How do you feel about trying to get the like out of Twitter?
I'm very angry.
Why?
This is the only thing I like about Twitter. The like button. Because, and it's probably like you, the only way I use Twitter is clicking the like button because people tweet about me when I'm on Fox and Friends. And they say, Tom, saw you on Fox and Friends. Great guy. You're really handsome. And I click like, because I don't want to talk. I don't want to have to write a tweet.
Right.
I'm not like the president. I don't like writing
You don't
tweets.
want to write a comment. You just want to hit I like it. I agree.
Yeah, it's my way of saying I read your tweet. I read your tweet.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of people who are addicted to social media, they put something out there and then they look at it all day. Hey, only got 82 likes.
Yeah.
Only 83 likes. The last one had 200 likes. What's the matter with me? And then they feel bad about themselves.
Well, you still got the retweets, right? What do you like better, Brian? Retweets or likes?
Well, you know what? That's a little personal, and I don't like to open up personally on the show, but I will say this. I thought Twitter made a good move by saying don't like. There's no don't like button. I thought that was the build of our self-esteem. Now they want to get rid of all like and don't like. All right, so can we move on and talk about Hillary Clinton? She said this a couple of days ago.
We're going to talk about 2020 in a minute. Do you want to run again?
No.
Wait.
No.
That was a pause.
Well, I'd like to be president.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who would like to just be president, not have to run.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Nobody wants to do that. So, yeah, she's going to keep up with this thing. Of course she doesn't want to run again. She thinks she should be the president. She won the popular vote. Did she ever tell you that?
Right. Well, listen, she's going to have a 13-city tour with her husband. Remember the last time she had a tour like this was a listening tour before she ran for Senate, remember?
And she won.
It turns out she ran and won.
Yeah. I don't remember her doing much listening then, though.
She did.
Could you imagine in 2020 if it's Hillary versus Donald Trump again?
It's the ultimate rematch. I mean, I think President Trump said last night on Fox News that there's nobody he wouldn't want to run against so far.
Right. I think that Democrats have to step up the way they have to tell Michael Avenatti to go do something else. Democrats should say, step out of the spotlight so we could have a new generation of leaders. And Tom Shalhoub, you're the person to tell the Democrats to do that.
I think they should. They should tell her to go bye-bye.
Tom, tell us about Fox Nation, what you're doing.
Oh, I got a quiz show. It's going to be after my fabulous radio show every day. I'm going to come downstairs. We're going to shoot a quiz show. And then the viewers of Fox Nation can test
play along. Can we play along?
Play along at home and test your knowledge, not only of the news, but of trivia, pop culture, the whole thing.
So, in other words, I'll be watching on my phone, and there's Tom Shalhoub on Fox Nation.
Yes.
And he says, okay, multiple choice. Is it A, B, or C? And I can play along?
Well, you can, you know what? Hopefully we'll get there.
Okay.
But when we start, maybe they're going to have to just press like on their Twitter feed.
Hey, Steve, obviously the follow-up question wasn't on the card for a reason. But wait a second. Tom, let me ask something. Are you going to do one of these things like they do with Let's Make a Deal? You only really tape 2 days a week and 5 different outfits? Or are you actually going to be live every day?
I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. I'm trying to figure out a way to do that with my radio show.
No, that's not good.
The 48-hour work week, I would love it. You people work too hard.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, I like this look.
Thank you.
If you would like more information about Tom's quiz show on FoxNation.com, go to FoxNation.com.
Yeah, become an early subscriber.
And get stuff.
Yes.
All right.
Like a tactical watch.
That's it. That's
All right,
the
I'll
most
sit up
expensive
now.
premium.
All right, Tom, you can go.
Oh.
All right. Go.
Just like that? Some host.
I'm going to go have some sausage.
We only have eggs. All right, straight ahead. Republicans targeted again. This time, a party office shot up in Florida. Senator Lindsey Graham says there's only one way to stop this.
If you think this is inappropriate and wrong for the country, you can vote Republican.
Yep, his message for all voters coming up. And some say I gave it to you already.
Plus, as the caravan heads for the United States, there could be 2 of them. Thousands of American troops are heading for our southern border. Pete Hegseth is an Army vet. What does he think? We're going to talk to that guy coming up.
What's up? How you doing?
How are you?
Good morning.
It's fun. Meanwhile, will Twitter reportedly look to remove the like button in a bid to improve the quality of online debate? I don't get the theory behind
So
this.
you don't like the idea of removing the like
I will not
button.
hit like on that.
The social media giant's founder, Jack Dorsey, made the announcement last week during a company event telling employees he, quote, wasn't a fan of the feature and it would be depleted and deleted soon.
A lot of people are not happy about that. So how will Twitter users react to the latest revelation? Joining us now to discuss is comedian and Fox News contributor and the host of the quiz show on Fox Nation, Tom DeLue. Hi.
Tom, we should add, too, you have a great radio show on Fox News.
Great radio show following your show, Brian.
Right.
Well, that's why it's great.
Yes.
Right. So we thought you'd be the perfect person to ask about like. How do you feel about trying to get the like out of Twitter?
I'm very angry.
Why?
This is the only thing I like about Twitter. The like button. Because, and it's probably like you, the only way I use Twitter is clicking the like button because people tweet about me when I'm on Fox and Friends. And they say, Tom, saw you on Fox and Friends. Great guy. You're really handsome. And I click like, because I don't want to talk. I don't want to have to write a tweet.
Right.
I'm not like the president. I don't like writing
You don't
tweets.
want to write a comment. You just want to hit I like it. I agree.
Yeah, it's my way of saying I read your tweet. I read your tweet.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of people who are addicted to social media, you know, they put something out there and then they look at it all day. Hey, I only got 82 likes.
Yeah.
Only 83 likes. The last one had 200 likes. What's the matter with me? And then they feel bad about themselves.
Well, you still got the retweets, right? What do you like better, Brian? Retweets or likes?
Well, you know what? That's a little personal, and I don't like to open up personally on the show, but I will say this. I thought Twitter made a good move by saying don't like. There's no don't like button. I thought that was the build of our self-esteem. Now they want to get rid of all like and don't like. All right, so can we move on and talk about Hillary Clinton? She said this a couple of days ago.
We're going to talk about 2020 in a minute. Do you want to run again?
No.
Wait.
No.
That was a pause.
Well, I'd like to be president.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who would like to just be president, not have to run.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Nobody wants to do that. So, yeah, she's going to keep up with this thing. Of course she doesn't want to run again. she thinks she should be the president. She won the popular vote. Did she ever tell you that?
Right. Well, listen, she's going to have a 13-city tour with her husband. Remember, the last time she had a tour like this was a listening tour before she ran for Senate. Remember?
And she won.
It turns out she ran and won.
Yeah. I don't remember her doing much listening then, though.
She did.
Could you imagine in 2020 if it's Hillary versus Donald Trump again?
It's the ultimate rematch. I mean, I think President Trump said last night on Fox News that there's nobody he wouldn't want to run against so far.
Right. I think that Democrats have to step up the way they have to tell Michael Avenatti to go do something else. Democrats should say, step out of the spotlight so we could have a new generation of leaders. And Tom Shalhoub, you're the person to tell the Democrats to do that.
I think they should. They should tell her to go bye-bye.
Tom, tell us about Fox Nation, what you're doing.
Oh, I got a quiz show. It's going to be after my fabulous radio show every day. I'm going to come downstairs. We're going to shoot a quiz show. And then the viewers of Fox Nation can test
play along. Can we play along?
Play along at home and test your knowledge, not only of the news, but of trivia, pop culture, the whole thing.
So, in other words, I'll be watching on my phone, and there's Tom Shalhoub on Fox Nation.
Yes.
And he says, okay, multiple choice. Is it A, B, or C? And I can play along?
Well, you can, you know what? Hopefully we'll get there.
Okay.
But when we start, maybe they're going to have to